Hello, everybody. Nice to see you all. Yeah. And welcome to the final destination of this year's Nordic Game Discovery Contest. Not yet. Thanks. What is the Nordic Game Discovery Contest? Yes, it's a game show combined with a Dragon's Den pitching battle with live audience, which is you, and live judges. I think you are alive still? Yeah, pretty much. I'm sorry for my voice. I've been out having a lot of late meetings. But let's get it rolling. This is the Nordic Game Discovery Contest.
You are a developer because you love games. Your goal is to create truly innovative and interesting experiences. To do that, you constantly have to learn and adapt and make decisions every single day. It's risky and scary, but also exhilarating. The freedom to create, working with like-minded people. The long days, sleepless nights, the leaps of faith, the pride in what you do. There are ups, the moment you first playtest it, the reaction of the first who tries it out. There are also many downs, but when you fail, you learn that your game needs to be discovered for more people to know it exists. So you enter the Discovery Contest, and a new journey begins. Battling on stage, pitching your game, first at home, then abroad, with and against other gifted developers from all over the world, making new business connections, even friendships, learning how to pitch, sell, connect, and evolve. Getting your game out there, that's what it's all about. Nordic Game Discovery Contest.
Yeah, that is the Discovery Contest. Now, we've been traveling a lot, 15 countries, plus 2 wildcards. We have done qualification rounds in all these countries, found finalists. They have been expoing on the show floor here for the previous 3 days. We have had a panel of secret judges. Any of the secret judges here? That's why they're secret. And they have decided on finding the final 4. So this is the final 4 final. And so the rules for this is as follows. We'll start with something I'm very, very proud of. It's something I called round 1. I think that's a brilliant name for the first round. It's where we meet the contestants and they show us their game. Then in round 2, we have what we call the game round. It's questions from the judges. They can roast the participants and ask them questions about the game. Then in round 3, it's called the reality round. It's again questions from the judges, but this time it's about the surroundings of the game, price point, business model, and so forth. Then we have the last round. It's funnily enough called round 4, and it's the final round. This is where the contestants have a final chance to sway the judges and sway you as an audience as well, but I'll get back to that later. So let's get to it. Now, first of all, let's meet the judges. I'm very, very happy to see all of you 3 here, and thank you so much for joining us. But who are you?
I'm Warren Spector. I've been making games for 36 years. I've worked on the publishing side and on the development side. I've pitched a lot of games. Had a lot of pitches rejected. I've killed a lot of projects. I've shipped a lot of projects. And that's pretty much me, I guess.
Hand to Warren. Thank you. Actually, I have one additional question. What is your all-time favorite game, not made by yourself?
Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past.
Ah, nice one. Nice. And next judge, Steve. Please tell a little bit about yourself.
Hi everybody, my name is Steve Escalante. I'm the founder and GM of Versus Evil. We're an indie games publisher. I haven't been doing this as long as Warren, but 20 years. I did start out as an indie developer as well. I quickly learned that I am not a developer, so I went to the business side of things and let much better and more creative, more qualified people do it. So I've been in the publishing business now for about 20 years and started Versus Evil about 6 years ago. We're best known for the Banner Saga, Pillars of Eternity, and some other fun indie titles. So,
thanks. A big hand to Steve as well. And obviously a bonus question. What is the worst game you have ever published? No, it was a joke. No. What is your favorite game?
I don't have it all the time.
You don't play games?
I don't. No, there's too many. There's too many. I've never been able. I get asked this question all the time, and I've never been able to really sink down to it. I mean, World of Warcraft stole I don't know how many years. Probably kids. That I could have been doing other things. But there's so many games. RPGs have always been my trope, and then that went to Elder Scrolls, and so just think of me as an RPG guy.
All right. Thank you. And last but not least, Cassie, tell the audience a little bit about yourself. It should work.
It should work? Okay. I'm Cassie Curran. I'm the head of business development at Jagex, which is home to RuneScape, and also Jagex Partners, which is a publishing arm of Jagex. I was previously at NetEase in China. I lived in China for 6 years, bringing in various games from the West, such as The Trail and the Rim series on mobile.
Nice. Big hand to Cassie as well. And Cassie, what is your favorite overall Chinese game?
Oh, that's a really hard question. I think, of course, it's got to be Chen Youhun.
Of course. I love that too. Okay, thank you so much. Now we're ready to start round one. And round one starts with introducing the contestants. So contestant number one, can you please come up here? It's Ovid Works from Poland with a game called Metamorphosis. Please come up on stage. Yeah. Now you can choose any of these fantastic, beautiful chairs. Yeah. And now we're gonna see a little bit about how it is to be Ovid Works.
We are Ovid Works, and we've prepared a little game for you that we hope you will enjoy. Unfortunately, we just learned that we have to make a video right now, so and we've been crunching for the past 2 weeks. Most of our team is dead now. We hope to raise them up as zombies soon, but they are not there yet. Left is Chopin over there behind. You will probably notice him, and also hidden there is Giuliano. Those two are the rare survivors of our crunch, but also the effect of which I hope you will enjoy.
All right. Big hand to you. So if you should describe your studio in one word, what would that be? If you should describe your studio in one word, what would that be?
Lovely.
Lovely. That's sweet. Okay, let's meet contestant number two then. Yes, it's from South Africa, QCF Design with a game called Drokanoid. Please come on stage. Hello. Please have a seat. And let's see how it is to be in South Africa and create games.
QCF Design's chief executive toddler begins the arduous trek to the company's offices. Offices which remind her of... QCF has been through some downsizing recently. The once celebrated indie studio is a shadow of its former self. But now is not the time to dwell on the past. There are new games to make. Games like Drokanoid. Will Drokanoid's remixed bullet time brick-breaking gel with modern audiences and help pay for the chief executive toddler's kindergarten? Only time will tell.
Aww. Nice. So if you should describe your studio with one word, what would that be?
Award-winning.
Oh, pressure's on. All right, let's meet contestant number 3. From Norway, Perfect Paranormal with the game called Helheim Hassle. Please come up on stage. Have a seat. And one word. Crazy. Wow. So, now on to contestant number 4.
What?
What? It is Critique Gaming from Romania with the game called Interrogation.
No video.
What's the video? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You want to see the video? I'm really sorry, man.
Welcome to our humble establishment, Perfectly Paranormal. This is our office right at the entrance. You can count on me standing here saying, "Hello, friend. Want a coffee?" Here's my desk and here are my toys. And my jar of office pickles. This is the one sitting right here making amazing codes. Chris comes in twice a week and blesses us with his amazing art. And no matter how busy we might get, we always take time to take a coffee break and a friendly conversation.
And then I said, "Your car is on fire!"
Perfect Paranormal. We care.
I'm so sorry about that. Now I understand why you said crazy. Okay, now on to contestant number 4, and that is from Romania, Critique Gaming with a game called Interrogation. And you can please take the last chair there. And now let's have a little look about your studio.
They were a cold bunch
That's
in a glacial city in an ice-cold industry. They made games. Games to entertain the masses and get them thinking about the hard, dirty questions of the century. Terrorism, poverty, authority, and why we treat cats the way we do. There was no subject they wouldn't touch. Critique Gaming was a rough gang, but their wit was as sharp as a sailor's razor. They couldn't fix their broken lives, but maybe they could fix some small part of the world. They had a smoky passion to them, and they'd do anything for their game. And that made them dangerous.
So please describe your studio with one word.
Insight.
Oh, award-winning Inside Crazy. Lovely. Fabulous 4. And now it's time to actually start looking at your game. Now we will see your gameplay trailer. Contestant 1 obviously starts. And after that, you have 30 seconds to explain what we just saw there. All right? I'm very strict on the timing, so even if you're in the middle of a sentence, I would just cut you off. That's actually my favorite of all-time jobs. So, are you ready for that? Let's check out the first one, contestant number 1, Metamorphosis. Here we go. Yeah, 30 seconds to explain what was that. Please go ahead.
So Metamorphosis is a puzzle platforming adventure where you play as Gregor Samsa, a human turned into a bug on his quest to regain humanity. And when I say puzzle platforming adventure, it means that you usually have to go from point A to point B, and that sometimes can mean finding a way there. Sometimes it means platforming, jumping, avoiding danger, and sometimes it means solving an environmental puzzle between those, let's say.
Oh, you kept it in within the time limit. Thank you so much. All right, let's go on to contestant number 2 and watch the gameplay trailer to Drokanoid. Here we go. Danny, what was that all about? Please go ahead now.
Drokanoid is a hyperspeed block breaking game. We took out the paddle to make more room for neon and explosions. So every time the ball slows down, because we gave you bullet time, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to hit anything, you have to draw the paddle, so you end up having a lot more control. And we then added power-ups to make everything even more ludicrous and just add more and more and more.
How boring, are you done already? Okay.
I mean, it's a quick game, hyperspeed.
Thank you so much. Big hand to Drokanoid. Let's move on to contestant number 3. This is Perfect Paranormal's Helheim Hassel gameplay video. Here we go.
Ah! What the hell did you do to me, Pesto? How am I still alive?
Yeah.
Nice, nice.
Okay, are you ready to describe what we just saw there?
So did you say I have an hour to do this?
Yes, also called 30 seconds.
Oh, okay.
Here we go.
So Helheim Hassel is a narrative adventure game, but with puzzle platforming elements, which revolve around detaching and attaching your limbs to solve different puzzles. Also, it is a Norse mythology setting. The end.
Wow, thank you. Okay, and let's go to straight to the contestant number 4 and watch Interrogation. Here we go. Yeah. What was that? Yeah, okay. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1, now.
Okay, so Interrogation Score gameplay is dialogue. Dialogue made gameplay. We call it a conversational psychological puzzle. That's the core gameplay. That's entwined with you as a lead detective being the administrator of a team, managing your agents, your budgets. All of that comes over a big narrative of looking at what drives people to extremism, how you counter radical terrorism, and all of these issues. It's a game that looks at really...
Yeah, stop. Time is out. Yeah. All right, and so now the tension mounts because now is the first round and the judges have to score what they just saw there. What game and studio did best in presenting themselves and showing the gameplay video. When I say 3, 2, 1, I'm just explaining. I will say 3, 2, 1, show us the game, and you will raise the sign that I have sit in my garage making for the past 10 years. Do you think you can do that? Are you ready? 3, 2, 1, show us the game. Oh, what a beginning. This is a tie. My God. This has never happened in the whole history of the Nordic Game Discovery Contest, so I have to go into my basement and do some calculations. Just a minute. Can I see the games again? Okay. Yeah. As far as I can tell from the very complicated algorithm that is my point system, we are starting with a draw. Now I need to tell you a little bit about my hobby. I love to be in the gaming industry, but I always also, when I have a little bit of spare time, my favorite thing is actually furniture. Did you know that? No. And it's not tables, it's not closets, no, it's chairs. I am deeply in love with chairs, and that is why, to me, these 4 chairs doesn't look the same. No, because in fact this chair is the leader's chair. Clever, huh? And then because you are not the leader, obviously, we'll have to actually take the leader's chair over here so you can see the screen better. And then you will move up here, just because I say you should. And then you will sit here, all right? And that is the cue to continue to round 2. This is the game round, questions from the judges. Now, contestant number 1, will you please stand up in front of the judges and be ready to answer the questions. And again, you have 30 seconds to answer each one. Cassie, will you be the first to start?
Yes, I will.
Thank you.
These are the game-focused questions, right?
This is questions about the gameplay, yes, please, and the game.
So my question is, oh God, why spiders?
So we're basing the game on Kafka works, and one of the books we're inspired is Metamorphosis. The main character is turned into a bug. But actually we're never saying it's spiders, we're never saying which bug it is, partially because of the books, and partially because now the players who play can picture the bug that they're not afraid of or that doesn't feel weird to them. Hopefully.
It did feel a bit creepy.
I've
got to be honest.
Okay, thank you. Time's up. Next question, Steve.
It's a multi-tiered question, I guess. In looking at the game, obviously, there's a lot of real-world environments and things like that. So how many different levels? How long is the game? You know, with total gameplay, what's your expectation based off of, let's say, challenging puzzles that people might be thinking about and having to basically focus on? So, average game length.
So we believe the gameplay will be between 4 to 6 hours. There are 3 main levels, but the levels are changing between real-world environments and kind of more abstract spaces. So for example, you can enter inside the desk of a lawyer and you find yourself in a weird bug village where you have to solve the puzzle, to then come back with the result of this puzzle back to the lawyer and progress the game in that space, plus a finale.
Time's up. Thank you. And then the last question, Warren.
Other than turning into a cockroach, what's the one thing I've never seen or done in a game that you've done in Metamorphosis?
I think the perspective is quite unique, and we also have a mechanic that's not necessarily shown in our demo here, but if you enter a sticky liquid, you are able to, for a specific amount of time, walk on any surface apart from the ceiling. I think that gives an even more unique perspective to the gameplay.
Thank you so much. Please take your seat again, and a big hand to contestant number 1. Now, stand up, contestant number 2, walk towards the judges and be ready to be fried. So, Cassie, would you start again?
With regards to the art style, what inspired you and what are the key references?
Geometry Wars is obviously a big one. We did a lot of research into how neon works. One of the major things about neon is it doesn't work very well on black, so the game is actually on kind of like a slightly brown background, and that took us like a couple of weeks to figure out. Mostly Geometry Wars and just trying to be as neon and kind of retro 80s as possible. Basically, like, what would Arkanoid have wanted to look like with modern hardware, and what could we do now?
Yes, time's up. Next question, please, Steve.
So, just to make sure that I understand, so you're drawing the paddle. How is that going to work on consoles?
It works on Switch, where you point the controller at the screen. We do have console versions of the control system where we have like 2 or 3 different ways of using the analog sticks. So you use the one analog stick to choose which point you'd be from, and then you choose your angle that you want the paddle to be at. That's one of them. The other is you split between the 2 controllers, and kind of neutral is always in the center of the thing. It's not really designed for that. It's more designed for touchscreen devices. Like, literally the focus was, why in Arkanoid do we have a paddle when these days we have some very accurate pointing devices? And as game designers, what does that mean for what we can do in the game?
And the time is up. Thank you. And then the last question, Warren, please.
To oversimplify a little bit, games are about fulfilling a fantasy, allowing players to show how clever and creative they are, or how skilled they are. Tell me how you achieved one, some, or all of those.
The game has this expanding series of power-ups that you can choose, so you basically choose a loadout. And the idea is also power-ups in Arkanoid games are usually they fall from the top of the screen and then you just activate them whenever they happen. In this, you can choose when you want to activate them. So it's sort of like as the levels become more and more difficult, or as you're fighting a mini-boss or there's a shmup section, you sort of like use the power-ups that you've charged up strategically throughout the game. I like that element of the gameplay as opposed to just reacting.
Okay. Thank you. Time's up. Please have a seat again. Thank you for that. And now it's contestant number 3. Please move towards the judges and get ready. Cassie, are you ready to begin once more?
I am. So there's a really distinctive sense of humor in your game. Where does that really come from? Is that from like your team sense of humor, or is it like inspired by something else?
The humor in our game is well written by me, and I'm inspired by works like Good Omens and Terry Pratchett, but also I combine it with things like Arrested Development or other funny stuff. So I mean, I have a bunch of favorites of comedy, and I guess they somehow, accumulate inside me and turn into the stuff I write. But it has bits and pieces from many different comic stuff. Good Omens.
Time's up. Thank you so much for that answer. And then on to Steve.
Obviously, you've used dismemberment as part of your humor. But are you concerned at all about what that might do from a ratings perspective and limiting what that might be?
With ratings?
Like ESRB ratings and, you know, because as soon as you basically rip an arm off, you start going towards the M world.
Yeah. Well, the game is pretty similar to our first game, Manual Samuel, where you had to do all of your battle functions manually. And we worked a lot with that, and that one ended up on a PG-16 rating. And we see it as pretty similar to that, so we're pretty sure it'll be the same thing. Like, that's what we'll aim against, and we've also tried to make it like as cartoony as possible, so that you don't necessarily get grossed out once he takes off his arm. We tried to make the severed arms as cute as possible for the masses.
And time is up for that. Thank you. Okay, last question.
Okay,
Warren.
This may be a tough one. I watched someone play the game before you showed up this morning, and there was a lot of button mashing, and he didn't know exactly what to do. How do you plan on teaching the player how to play your game?
Did he start from the beginning of the game?
Yep.
Okay. No, we do our best, and we have excessive testing all the time, and we are only unlocking one body part at a time, so that you get the time to get to know your head and what it can do and what you have to do to detach it before we move on to the next body part, and that one falls off, and it's like, okay, this is the arm segment, and you get to play around with the arm, and you learn how that one works, and then the other one falls off. So we're trying to do it as gradual as possible, because we don't want to overwhelm the player.
Time's up. Thank you so much. And please have a seat again. And on to contestant number 4. Please go on stage towards the judges. And first question again from Cassie, please.
How much has real life influenced your game?
Extensively. Like, we're not hiding it, not trying to hide it. What's happening in the world, how the world is shifting in terms of how vulnerable people are drawn into extreme ideologies, and how abuse of authority is always something close to so many governments, has been a huge influence, and that's what it is about, and we're not shy about that.
Thank you. Next question, Steve.
I lost my question. I think when you and I talked the other day, part of the discussion was about, you know, how the game is unique, and there are actually like kind of puzzles brought on by dialogue. And you said, and I think the claim was that they were pretty complicated puzzles. At the end of the day, though, you're still limited by your choices. It's not like people are typing in words or things to have that be very organic. So how do you how are you trying to solve the potential of it just being really pretty quickly, like kind of one-dimensional, once you kind of figure out that path based off of the choices that are just given to you in front of you?
So there's a ton of variation in how you customize your character. You get to choose perks for different playstyles. You can play as a very sympathetic, good guy. You can play an intimidating character, and you get to customize all that in a whole array of ways through perks, as well as you go through the game, to have variety, to not just streamline, repeat the same recipe. We have a varied array of scenarios. There's a hostage situation, and you're on the phone with the hostage taker. In one interrogation, you're being interrogated, and you're giving the answers to internal affairs. In another one, you know all of your suspects are terrorists, but you have to get something out of them. Each scenario brings you new challenges that force you to adapt to the specific people in front of you in that scenario.
And time is up. Next question, please. Last one.
Okay, I got a potentially tough one for you too. There's a truism in the video game industry that people don't play games to read. Can you describe for me how you're going to convince me and everyone else that they're wrong? By the way, I've heard that 1,000 times, so you're not alone.
we founded the studio because we wanted not to read in games, but to engage with meaty, serious topics. If that takes reading, we're perfectly happy to do it. We know lots of people our age, because the average age of the gamer is increasing. Gamers are now well over 30. I think they're getting ready to read about things that are pointful, if that comes with gameplay. If the reading is the gameplay, not just filler, not just icing on a game of a different genre. If it is the game, if it handles important topics, I think gamers are mature enough now to really engage with something if it's worth their time.
And time is up. Thank you so much. That concludes round number 2, and now the tension mounts even further. I am so excited I cannot live in my own body right now. I don't know if you have the same feeling, but that's how it is. So, judges, how do you feel? Which game do you think made the best appearance? Yeah, for this second round? Steve? Okay, 3, 2, 1, show us the game. Oh, yeah. Now stuff is starting to happen, because this means that we have a new leader. Please come up here and sit, Helheim.
Hello, I am Helheim.
Hello. Give him a big hand, right? Okay, so now we are so excited that we need to take a chill pill and say thank you to all these wonderful sponsors that have made the Nordic Game Discovery Contest a reality. One of them, Exola, have a video we will see now. It is supposed to be shown in absolute tystnad, as we say in Sweden. That means silence. So don't say a word. Not a single word. Are you ready? Yeah, thank you, Exola. Can we give Exola a big hand? Thank you. And then, on the other hand of the spectrum, we have another sponsor called Dolby, and they are not about silence, they are about sound. Here we go. Yeah, big hand to Dolby as well. Both of them and a bunch of other sponsors will be on stage here at 4 o'clock, where we do the winner ceremony as part of the Nordic Game 19 wrap-up session. It's the last session of Nordic Game. It's where you have to be, because you can win stuff and be entertained and wave to us and say goodbye and hugs, and there's a lot of stuff going on. But this contest, the 3rd season, which is over now, it has been a long journey. And just to show you why I didn't become a graphical designer or a game developer, I've made this to show you the traveling we've been doing. Here we are at the Nordic Game Discovery Contest Finals. This is actually footage from this year's final. No, it's not. It's from last year, obviously. And I just wanted to thank all our partner conferences, all the places that we've been. So can you please give them a big, big hand? Thank you, everyone. If anyone is here, thank you so much. And now we are ready for round 3. Questions from the judges again, but this time about other stuff than the game. So it's contestant number 1. It's you. Otherwise I would be like a PowerPoint magician, right? If I should change all that. So please go in front of the judges and be ready. I think that Warren should start this time.
No.
Yeah, just to mix it up a bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe that every studio and every developer should have a mission, a reason for being. What's your mission, the mission of your studio? Why did you start it, and how are you going to define studio success?
So I would say our mission is to bring stories into an interactive medium in a way that maybe has something new or something exciting in it. We believe that we started with Metamorphosis as a movie script, but we just thought it would be amazing as a game. And for us, a successful studio, I think, is when, first of all, everyone in the studio is happy to work there and they're proud of the games that we're making. And of course, from the studio perspective, financially, if the game lets us do the games that we want to do.
Time's up. Thank you so much. Next question.
Kind of riffing on her first question, when you consider the fact that it's kind of a bug or a spider and it's kind of creepy or whatever that might be, what do you feel is your key marketing hook in order to get people, when they're looking at a single image or a video, that are going to get them excited about your game?
So first of all, we were trying to make the representation of the back, so the legs, etc., as not gross as possible. And I think the gameplay should be the thing that attracts people's attention, because we have a lot of story in the game, which we're not showing right now, and we put a lot of emphasis on it. But we believe that the gameplay should be something that really sells the game, and then if you are enjoying the story, that's really great for us.
Thank you. Time's up as well. So last question, Cassie.
A very practical question. What kind of price point are you considering and why?
We consider price point between 20 and 30 euro, and this is because we believe that the quality is there to give this price point. As well, if we want to go to the physical medium, it has to be at least 20 euro, and that also, when we were doing the calculations and what was the budget for the game, etc., that makes sense for us in terms of like business case scenarios.
Thank you so much. That was contestant number 1. Please give him a hand, big hand. And now on to contestant number 2. Please front the judges and get ready for their questions. Warren, are you ready to start?
Sure. No, I'm not. Let's see. Well, let's ask a variation of that last question. Define success for your game. What were your goals, and how are you going to know if you've met them?
Success for this game would be existing and finding an audience that really, really likes it. It probably shouldn't have existed. The idea was initially something I came up with in 2006 before I started my company. I built some versions of it and they felt terrible to play, so I stopped. Then I built more of them and they also felt terrible to play. And then eventually I built a version that felt nice at a game jam at another South African studio, and people seem to keep enjoying the game. And the more people find the game, the better I feel about making more of it. So success is an audience that enjoys it.
Time's up. Thank you so much. On to the next question.
Building on my last question, are you concerned about not being able to launch on certain platforms and having success on those platforms, or just being poorly reviewed based off of the experience, that your financial success will be limited because you're only going to be on so many platforms?
Yes and no. I wouldn't try and hit a platform that the game wasn't a good fit for. Our previous game, Desktop Dungeons, we didn't launch on small screens because the game needed sort of like a 20 by 20 grid of clicking on things. It was a roguelike game. That didn't work on phones at the time, so we didn't launch on there. Maybe we left money on the table, maybe we didn't. We did not have a bunch of unhappy customers. So I would prefer to make people really happy with the game and make it fit really well, rather than try and shoehorn it onto a platform where it doesn't necessarily work. So unfortunately, we won't be launching on the Wii U.
Thank you so much. Last question, please.
How does being based in South Africa impact you as a business?
It means our cost of living are really cheap, and I have a nice house, and the food is great, so you should all come visit South Africa. We're doing a thing in November. Come through. But it also does mean that our development budgets tend to be quite a lot lower, and like the financial success bar for us is much lower as well. but it does make business very difficult. So we don't get to come to events like this a lot. We don't get to go to multiple business meetings and things like that overseas. So we've often had publishers just straight up turn us down because it's too difficult to meet us in person.
Time's up. Thank you so much. Give a big hand to contestant number 2. And now it's contestant number 3. Perfectly Paranormal. Please front the judges and get ready for Warren's first question. Here we go.
What do you need to finish this game, and what would you do if I gave you $1 million?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm really happy you asked me that. What we need to finish the game right now is just 7 more months or something. We got most of what we need. We get our nice office, we get the money from Manuel Samuel, so we're okay. But if you gave me $1 million, then I would hire more voice actors and move to a nicer house.
All right, time's up for that. Thank you. Next question.
I'm going to switch to Cassie.
Yes.
What are the key strengths of your crazy team?
I'm very good at cooperating. I'm the project leader, and when we bounce like ideas and somebody gives me an idea, I can always appreciate it. Like, I feel like everybody in my team, every time they come up with something, it's the best thing ever. Like, we have our character designer, and I go to him and I'm like, I wrote this dialogue for this character, can you design him? And he's like, oh my, all right, I'll try, that's the best dialogue ever. And then he does the character and I'm like, dude, you just, whoo, that's a good character. So we're just really good at cooperating, and
that's it, because time's up. Thank you. And you ready now, Steve,
Yeah,
for the last question?
Yes. Humor in games is hard.
Yeah.
Always has been. There's also the added difficulty when you translate and localize into other languages. How are you prepared to basically attack that so that you can reach your market potential by being translated into many different languages?
What we did with Manuel Samuel was to translate the jokes so that they worked in the language we translated it to. So sometimes the joke could be different, but as funny, and maybe it got the point across. But we have experienced that we have to translate the jokes and alter them a little bit so they work in that language. I did the Turkish localization.
And time is up.
And did that a lot.
Thank you so much. Come and take a seat again. And now it's up for contestant number 4. Get ready and go ahead with the first question.
Oh, that's me.
Yeah, it is.
Right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to cheat because I'm genuinely curious, and I'm going to ask a combination of questions I've already asked. I want to know how you're going to define success for that game, and I want to know how you're going to define success for your studio. Why did you start this?
For me personally, success of the game would be for it to cover at least production of another game of its sort, hopefully an upgrade. In terms of the studio, success for the studio would be that years from now it can be an umbrella studio with many different teams approaching a wide array of such meaningful games in a variety of genres and a variety of meaty topics. And yeah, that's what we want to grow towards expanding so we can touch as many worthwhile topics.
And time's up. Thank you. Next question, please.
I'm sorry to stay on this track, but I will, because again, your game does give me pause from a cost. So talk to me about localization. It's got a lot of text, but also you have a lot of images, and I'm just not sure if those are actual text files. So again, speaking of localization, if you actually have to translate images and redo graphics and things, much more arduous of a task for multiple languages. So how are you prepared to basically attack that?
So our infrastructure is all set for localization, including the things that show up as text in like folders and things. They're all all set to be translated, just to be editable into localized. It's a lot of words. It's many thousands of words throughout the game. About 150,000, something like that. But you know, if our publisher says it's worth translating this to a market, we're ready to do that.
Thank you so much. And last question from Cassie, please.
What kind of marketing do you think would work well for your game?
So, because it's a niche game, because it's a game doing things differently, we believe it needs marketing of a very specific, targeted type that understands its core. We believe accessing non-gamers is an avenue. We've seen non-gamers be very successful at the game, at playing it. People from university backgrounds of many types, from law to police to political sciences, as well as all of the fans of noir, of police work, of games similar to this that approach such issues, like, for example, I don't know, Papers, Please, or...
And time is up. Thank you so much. That ends it for contestant number 4, and it's also the conclusion of round 3. So now we need points from the judges. My heart is beating so fast that I can't hear myself walk. Are you ready, judges? This is the second to last vote. We have the final round in a minute. So are you ready? 3, 2, 1. Show us the game. Wow, it's another draw. Draw canoid interrogation. Draw canoid interrogation. What? Can I see it again? And yes, thank you. You won't believe this. It's crazy. This last round can define it for any of the contestants. I have never seen anything like it. I'm always almost nervous, a little bit sad, but also very, very happy. It's weird. But let's go on with the final round. This is where the contestants have the chance, one last chance to sway the judges, but also to sway you guys. And that means that when we've seen, they have sent us some material. It can be anything, a dance, a joke, a picture, whatever. And then they have 30 seconds to either show that without saying anything, show it when they speak, or whatever they want. But to help the judges, we need you in the audience as well. So I want to hear a really, really disappointed applaud. That was like, and then I want to hear that was kind of a medium, kind of. Yeah, that was not any difference between those. And then of course it's really, really good. I want to hear you say it. Yeah, exactly. So contestant number 1, please stand up. You have actually sent us your webpage.
It was a very quick application.
I'm not saying anything, but...
We updated the webpage though.
Yeah, it looks great. So I've decided to do this, and then I will give you 30 seconds from now to sway the judges and the audience. Please go ahead.
So I understand it's a Kafka game, and we also understand it's a game where you play as a bug. But I think if you give it a chance, you will see that it's a pretty magical experience that hopefully will make you smile. We try to make it humorous, and I think it also will give you pause and let you think about, I don't want to say humanity because it's like a big thing, but I think it will also hopefully make you think.
And time's up. Thank you. What do you say? Yeah, we're somewhere in there on the Richter scale. Let's give it up for contestant number 2. Please stand up and let's see what you have brought to the table. Do you remember?
I have no idea. I've forgotten.
It's this.
Oh.
Yes. So
like a series of gifts?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
And
okay.
Are you ready? Because we've done this before, you and I.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
In Cape Town. Okay, here we go.
Do I have a thing? yeah, Drawkanoid started life in 2006 when it looked like this. Hit the button. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
That's kind of boring. I tried to turn it into a Nintendo DS game, and because we're in South Africa, we just couldn't. So that was terrible. So it looked like that. And somebody took that to E3, and then the company folded. And I work on it every once in a while. And then in 2017, this happened, which I think you'll see is a little bit familiar. And then that got funding from Humble and turned into this, which I think is quite a lot better. And I want to turn that into something on everyone's phone.
Yes, and time's up. What do you say? All right, contestant number 3, please. You have sent us a video. Do you want to talk?
Can you turn off the sound of the video?
Can you turn off the sound of the video? We start it now.
Look, at Perfectly Paranormal, we treat the narrative part of the game and the gameplay part of the game with equal respect. You take away the narrative part, and you're left with a fun game. You take away all the interactions, and you're still left with an awesome cartoon. So we treat both parts with equal respect. And I'm not trying to just sell a game here, because what we're doing is we're trying to make a franchise. All of our games are connected.
Time's
they are
up.
connected. It's awesome. Okay, thanks.
What do you think, audience? And on to contestant number 4. You have also sent us a.
Just speak.
Oh yeah, you don't want to show it?
No. I'll just speak. If
Okay, that's okay. Go ahead.
Okay, so clearly all of these games deserve discovery. Helheim's awesome for touching on Norse mythology. Kafka's amazing. Has to be brought to young people in any way, shape, or form. Drawkanoid is a beautiful digital toy. Why we would deserve perhaps more discovery would be because of like a message to ourselves, to our industry, that we can try for hard, serious things that can be made fun, that mature, important things can be gameplay, that you can be enriched by games just as much as movies, books,
and
time's
up. Okay. I don't know if you're... oh, that was wrong. I don't know if that helped you, judges, but now you have to make your decision. And taking into the consideration what you just saw now in Swaying, but also the first round of showing the studio and the game, also the way they answered the gaming-related questions, and then the third round questions as well. And then you have to show us which one. Yes, it's no. That would be kind of weird for me because... No, that's true. That's for next season. All right. So, are you ready, judges? Oh, it's hard. No. That is because it's a very complicated algorithm. Are you ready? You have to be ready. We need to move on. Come on, judges. All right. 3, 2, 1. Show us the game. Okay, keep it up. Because I need to do this. Okay, and okay, where was that? And then yeah, all right. So thank you so much. Now we can chill. Not at all, because now I will go into the basement and do my calculations. This can take a little while, so that's why I've created this piece of music. Now I am. Funnily enough, when the music stopped, I was ready. And now, yeah, thank you. If you saw the algorithm, you would understand why I'm sweating right now. We actually have a winner of this Season 3 of the Nordic Game Discovery Contest. And the winner is... Can I get a drum roll, please? The winner is with just 1.5.3 points. Drokanoid! Danny, congrats. Yeah. So Danny will be ceremonied, as well as I will announce the People's Choice winner as well in the next session, in the wrap-up of Nordic Game 2019. So please go out, have a short break, then come back in and let's celebrate together. But first of all, thank you so much, judges, for being part of this. Thank you so much, contestants, for doing this as well. And thank you so much, audience. Goodbye. For now, see you in 5 minutes.